If he doesn't wake up in the morning with a boner, with an erection, he's losing his testosterone. You should be waking up every day with boom. Guys think if they go get shots that they're suddenly magically going to lose weight. That's not how it works. If you buy into this belief, you're not living the lifestyle. You're caught up in the rat race. You're under the fluorescent lights from 9 to 5. Collectively, all of these things are what add to the decline in testosterone. If you're waking up in the morning and you have an erection and you're feeling confident and all of that, don't let that dictate whether or not you think you need to get on some shot because you're not fitting into this guideline. If your body's telling you your testosterone's good, and that is an indication for every single man. These things need to be considered when you are looking at ways to improve, not just willy-nilly going to some strip mall and getting some guy who just opened up a testosterone clinic to shoot you in the butt with some exogenous form of testosterone that shuts your body's natural production down. We are a byproduct today of the last 10 years of our life. So whatever you're experiencing today in your life is not because of what you did yesterday. It's a byproduct of collectively everything that you've experienced and done to yourself over the last 10 years.
All right. Well, everyone, welcome back. We're here once again at Jill Collins Connections, and I have an amazing guest for you today, Clark Bartram. Clark is a renowned fitness expert, and he is one of the top online trainers in the world, and he hosts a fitness TV show. He also has a podcast, and he is up to some really amazing things in the world. But we're going to go a little deeper today and find out some other things that might help you up-level your life in fitness and wellness and just to feel a little bit better in life. Super excited to have Clark. Thank you for being here today. Let's get started. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm so happy that I've had the honor to meet you, and our relationship is growing even virtually. Like, we got the chance to meet in person in the DR at an event. And then from there, we've been following each other and encouraging each other to continue to do the mission that we're called for in life. So thanks for the opportunity to be on your platform and share this information with men and women who feel stuck.
Yeah. Thank you. And I know I've been on this journey of being over 50 myself, 52 now. I would love to know, what is like the most important thing? Listen, we could talk about men, but I think it applies to women too. But what is the most important thing that men over 50 need to do right now to change and up-level their health and wellness?
I think every man needs to go get blood work done. Every woman needs to go get blood work done. I think women are better at it than men are because they're just more conscientious about health and things like that. And men sometimes hold the fact that they haven't been to the doctor in a decade or longer as a badge of honor. And they think it's smart when it's really very stupid to do that. So I'm on a mission now to get every man to check his blood and look at certain markers in his blood to make sure that he's within range according to standard of care, and understands the things that he should be doing to correct problems that can easily be corrected through diet, exercise, mindset, and all of the things that I teach. So that'd be the number one thing. I have my own blood test kit up here that I ship to people. So that's how serious I am about this. I'm about ready to go again. I go every Monday and have mine done for other reasons, but that is the single most important thing, because if you can't measure it, you don't know really what you're doing. So getting on the next keto diet or throwing stuff at a wall and expecting it to stick without knowing really what's going on in your body is just another waste of your time.
I think the whole thing about measuring, and that's something that really I was made aware of when we met. We met at the YBL Your Best Life retreat or conference in Dominican Republic, and it was our fitness and health and wellness trip. And over the past few years, since I've started with YBL, we've had some of the most amazing speakers, and I've become aware of all this different health, like things that I need to know and tests I need to have and what I need to be looking for. And so I'm so glad you're doing that test. And I'm going to put all of these links, everyone. You're going to have access to everything Clark does and has and what he offers. So definitely reach out to him. You'll get his social media channels and all that stuff too. And you can have an opportunity to work with him as well. But what is it, like you say, a test, what the test that you have that you offer, is that like a PSA test or is it more other blood work? What should we be having that we're not getting in the doctor's office, that the doctor will say, here's your panel. Oh, you're good. Here's your annual wellness visit, your basic plant panel. You're healthy, go.
Yeah. So the first thing, with that being said, that you really need to do is take control. When you're in with your doctor and you ask he or she, what is on the panel? Like typically they have 7 minutes to be with you in that room. They'll show up late. They're in a rush. They got people backed up. They're in a system. So it's not necessarily their fault that they can't really invest the amount of time going over each individual line item. in explaining to you the importance of knowing these measurements and keeping track of these measurements so you have record of your health in the event something happens down the line, that you need all of this information to data mine and go back and look at different patterns in your life. So, you know, HDL and LDL and the ratio between them, because just having too high of cholesterol, like some people genetically have high cholesterol, but with the ratio, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad if the ratio is correct. So you need the HDL, LDL, and the ratio. Checking your liver enzymes is important because of life and the stresses, people drinking alcohol and the different stress we put on our liver, understanding those numbers. Cortisol levels are important to measure as well, based upon what I just said, stress in life. So if someone's struggling with gaining weight and they're like, I can't figure it out. Well, if you haven't looked at your blood, maybe your cortisol is elevated and you need to get that in check. And then PSA, obviously, for reasons that we'll talk about later for me. Testosterone for men is a big one. Free, total sex hormone binding globulin, because you need to understand that having a total testosterone, if it's bound up by this thing called sex hormone binding globulin, so it's not free to roam through your body and do what testosterone's meant to do, give you an erection in the morning, give you confidence, help you lose weight, give you all of the energy that you're seeking in life. And so those would be the basic ones. I think that's 5 I rattled off there. There are 2 more in mind. I can't think of them off the top of my mind. But anyway, talk to your doctor, because here's what's going to happen. Your doctor most likely will say, let's say a guy's 35 years old and he's watching. The doctor's going to go, we don't need to test your testosterone. You're not of the age yet. We don't need to check your PSA. You're not in the guideline yet to where we have taken this collective of all of these basically unhealthy people in our Western culture and put them in a group. And now they're comparing hopefully healthy younger people to a bunch of sicker older people and created these guidelines that don't necessarily apply, in my opinion, to the world that we live in today. The stresses that are thrown at us through interpersonal relationships, business, endocrine disruptors, from the things that we put on our body. There are just so many different factors that need to be considered when we're in there doing these things. So a doctor just, don't worry about it. We're just going to give you the standard stuff. No, 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 no. I want what I want, and we're going to get what I want, and you're going to educate me on what I need, or this is the education that I received. So these are the things that I am currently asking for. So that, I think more than anything else, is really taking control of your healthcare and understanding that you have the right to push back, slow them down, and say, no, 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 wait, don't leave yet. Mrs. Jones can wait. I need to know. And then that's that.
Okay. I totally hear you. And I have the luxury of living in Argentina and the US part of the year. So I get the healthcare there in the US and here, around here now. And boy, to see the comparison, it just really freaks me out sometimes. Because I went and had an annual physical a few months ago in Miami. And I thought, okay, I'll do the insurance. I know don't normally go to doctors in the US as much anymore, but I thought I'll just do it. And I went in and I said, here's, she did the whole thing, and, the cough and the finger with the oxygen and the blood, pressure and the whole deal. And I realized probably 75% of what she tested me for, I can get that on my watch, first of all. And then she said, well, run a blood panel. I said, well, I really want to have, I'd like to have my HRT, my hormones, tested, and some other things too with thyroid. She goes, oh, I can't do that. She goes, you need to go to a GYN for that. I said, well, I went to a GYN. They told me to come to you. And so this is a general doctor. And she said, well, I'm not going to test you for things that I'm not going to treat you for. I said, okay. I said, well, she said, I'll send you to a GYN. I'll recommend that we'll do it. I said, okay. I said, great. I said, so then she'll test me for these things that I want. And she goes, no, she will let you know what you need tested. And I went, oh my God. I was just like, yeah, no. They will tell you what you need to be tested for. And I was about to lose it. You have to know, Clark, I was almost ready to just I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not getting anywhere here. So I'm like, okay, lucky for me, I said, okay, never mind. I'm just going to do it here in Argentina. But I think this is what really makes me so angry, is that there are people who deal with this every day in the United States, that people they take what the doctor tells them at face value. And there are great doctors out there. I'm not knocking doctors, but I think we are missing we need to be the advocates of our own health. And we need to ask questions like you're saying. And even if you're 35 and you may, think they tell you, you don't need this test or that test, question it like you're saying, right?
For sure, because it is your right, it is your responsibility, and we have this thought that anyone in a white coat with a stethoscope wrapped around their neck is the authority because they should be speaking with authority. And you like are impressed by all of the diplomas that you see on the wall. And you automatically assume, really in our Western culture, because you said something very important, you have the ability to see two different cultures operating. So in our Western culture, we've been conditioned from childhood to believe that this person, male or female, knows. And whatever they say, we do because they are smarter than we are. But the reality is they are not at all. And you can be as educated as quickly as you need to be on your health. And I'm not saying go Google, do a Google doctor and all of that and get confused. But what I'm saying is be educated on some of the markers with specific to the blood conversation that you should be looking for, specifically and especially if there's something in your bloodline. And they would ask for that typically on the list. Does anyone in your family have heart disease or pre-diabetic or any of that sort of stuff? So then they might lean towards giving you these tests more. But so many of the things, the maladies that we suffer in this Western culture are reversible through the principles that I teach: mindset, meals, movement, community, integrity. If you live that way, you can not be a type 2 diabetic. You can get off of high blood pressure medication. You can lose 100 pounds, which will take the pain away from your knees. There are so many things that are reversible that we don't. I'm going to tell you a horrible story. I have a client that I train, and he knew of a girl who was on the verge of gastric bypass surgery. She wasn't heavy enough, and the doctor recommended that she lose weight. She opted to gain more weight so she could be over the threshold so she could get the surgery. How disgusting is that? That someone think, I'm just going to gain another 20 pounds so I can go in, get half of my stomach cut out, and then eat a portion of the food, become malnourished, and probably gain the weight back because there's no discipline that's been exercised to help the doctor justify whether or not you're a good candidate for this procedure. And it's not the doctor's fault. It was this individual's fault. So it's
Oh, that's crazy. I mean, that's awful. It's awful to think. And I think that's something, it's how do we get the best information? There's the thing is, I think we have so much, one on the good side, we have so much information out there. We can research till, the end of time on things that we think are wrong with us, or if we feel something's off. It's just, how do we know where to go? And what are things that we can, you mentioned the blood tests, and then you have your the CDX one that has it's the PSA as well. What is in this?
Yeah, PSA is in there and all of the other things that I listed off. But with what you just questioned there, how do we know with all of the information? I'm just going to tell you from personal experience because you know that I've been recently diagnosed with prostate cancer. So now I'm on this mission to learn more about cancer, prostate cancer specifically, all of the ways to treat it allopathically and all of the alternative ways to treat it. And I have been bombarded with a bunch of well-minded people who want to give me information that's all anecdotal. But with regard to who do I listen to, you have to do what I know you're going to shake your head up and down and go, yep. You have to listen to your gut, your intuition, what is resonating with you in your soul, regardless of the influx, the fire hydrant of information that will begin to come at you once you've been given any diagnosis, and all of the people who love you in your life. So I found somebody online. I'm like, ooh, I really like what this guy's saying. This is going to be my source. And whatever else I get, on an ancillary level, I'm going to take it with a grain of salt, but let this person guide me through this process that can be very confusing, very scary, and a whole host of other things. So that for me has been really what's been my savior. And that works with everything. I just was having that conversation with my son this morning. I'm like, listen to your gut. In your gut what's right. My wife will say, oh, that person in my gut. You know what her gut told you about you? That you're freaking awesome and she loves you.
Yeah, I love Anita. I can't wait for you guys to come down and visit. I'm so excited. I love Anita so much. She's like my new best friend. I adore her. Why she's somebody who said that, tell her hi.
Yeah, so
Um,
that is it, and she knows. We all know, but we're so what I'm telling guys, if they get a diagnosis like I have, or anyone that gets a diagnosis, don't let your anxiety dictate your treatment. So
ooh, I like that.
fortunately, with prostate cancer, I have time. I don't need to rush it, and I don't have anxiety about it, so it's not dictating my treatment like somebody else who might hear the cancer word and then suddenly go, "Ooh, I better do something right away because I'm gonna die," right? That's the association that we have. When in Argentina, it might be a completely different mindset because it's a completely different lifestyle. It's more holistic, it's more from the earth, it's more natural and community and all of these other things that we're lacking here in our Western culture. So, yeah,
I I love what you said about intuition. I think that's something that's more I think a lot of people think is more natural for women to be that way. But I think we call it a gut feel. When men, it's the same thing, but it's really trusting that. And the difficulty there sometimes is that, especially if we tend to, like you said, trust others or we want to please other people in the family, everyone's bugging us. Maybe it's a spouse who's saying, no, you need to do this, or you have a professional, maybe you have a friend that would be a doctor that you know really well, and they're telling you, oh my gosh, you have to do this, and you're going like, I just don't feel right about it. But it's like it's almost like all rationale, all reason is going against what your gut's saying. It's like the rational thing is this, but I'm just, whoa, I don't feel right about this.
I
And
have all of the
I
above.
love that you said that. I think that's the most important, impactful thing so far. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I knew you were gonna I'm like, when I say this, she's really gonna resonate with it. And everything that you said, I have all of those people in my life who, like I said earlier, are well-meaning, caring, loving me, want the best for me. However, they have been indoctrinated into this belief that if I don't instantly go right away and get a radical prostatectomy, that something horrible is gonna happen to me because I waited too long, I didn't take care of it. When the reality is, I'm probably doing no, I am definitely doing more than 95% of the men who have been given this diagnosis will do because I'm looking at the reasons why I got it. I'm uncovering things in my gut, in my blood, I poop, peed, spit, and bled in more containers that I can tell you to give me more data about me than I would ever have known before. So I can start taking care of certain things that may or may not have been the cause, but whenever I do whatever I'm going to do that might be more drastic than what I'm currently doing, I won't have those underlying issues that are still lurking in the background where other people would. So if I cut out my prostate, it doesn't handle the gut issue. It doesn't handle the stress issue. It doesn't handle the chemical exposure issue. Like, so speaking of data mining and blood work and all of that sort of stuff, when I went to my doctor, they data mined every bit of blood I've ever done blood work on from everybody. They data, but they have access to it. And they pulled
You
it
have
in. I
access to
sat with the
that?
doctor. She went back to the early 2000s and we tracked my testosterone. We tracked my cortisol. We tracked all of these different markers in my blood to give us some idea of what might be going on. Like there's no definitive answer, but it's certainly we have better direction than someone who wouldn't have that or wouldn't take the time to do that.
Holy smokes. Okay. I just got something really interesting. In Argentina, one of the things they do is they give us, you're the owner of all your lab reports, all your records. They don't keep it in a file in the office and all that. They write it down in a card, or they have a computer and they put all the information and they give it back to you. And so I have stacks of everything you could imagine here. And I thought, well, they would say, oh, well, that's old. You don't need that. Or some people will say that, right? So keep that information. Keep those old. That
100.
is okay. Very good. Important. Okay, people, if you have not taken your notebook and pencil out, or paper, or notepad and paper, or pen out, rewind and go back and watch this again, because this is so far. I'm hearing get data, measure, use your intuition when you you're getting a feel about something, and then data mining. Go back if you need to, and go back and keep records. Keep your records. Ask for your records from all your doctors. I know they don't do that there as well. You have to go and do a records request, but dang, I did that when we moved here for that reason. So I have all my stuff, but everybody, seriously, keep your records. It's valuable information. I had no idea. Wow.
Yeah, I was surprised when we looked at it, and actually the doctor she was getting on me. She was being very hard because she understands the value of that information. And she's like, why don't you have this? Why don't you know that? When I ask you this question, you should know the answer as quickly as you know your Gleason score on your cancer. Like you should know your cholesterol. You should know your PSA. You should know your testosterone levels. You should know your waist measurement. These things should be on the top of our mind so we can instantly rattle them off to somebody when they ask. It shouldn't be, well, I don't know. You know, this is our life we're talking about. In full disclosure, I wasn't thinking about those things because I was fooled by the aesthetic of Clark Bartram, the guy that's on the magazine covers, the guy that can pop his top and look good as someone half his age. I was caught up in that. And I remember one time years ago, I was speaking at an event and they popped up a cover and we had a product that worked on a cellular level. And what I said was, you know, I look great on this magazine cover, but if I were to look inside of me, I don't know if on a cellular level, I look as good as I do on the outside. And
Wow.
the reality was I wasn't, because whatever caused this cancer in my life started, right? We are a byproduct. This is really important right here too now. We are a byproduct today of the last 10 years of our life. So whatever you're experiencing today in your life is not because of what you did yesterday. It's a byproduct of collectively everything that you've experienced and done to yourself over the last 10 years.
Did you hear that, everybody? We are a byproduct today of everything we did over the past 10 years. Oh, man. Okay. That's good.
Right?
That's really good. I
So
gotta
if
think
we
about it.
stopped drinking 2 months ago, that doesn't mean that we might not have an effect on our liver. That's why I mentioned you need to look at your enzymes in your liver. Maybe that 10 years collectively and accumulatively has caused a situation, but I'd stopped drinking 2 months ago. Your liver is regenerative, of course, but maybe not that quickly. Maybe there's other things coming in, chemical exposures that are still causing stress on that organ that could clean itself out if you were to do more things right than you're doing wrong.
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah, I stopped drinking over 4 years ago. I can't tell you how much better I feel. For me, it was so worth it. So congratulations on that. I know you're doing it for obvious health reasons too, but yeah, I think wake up. What we're trying to show here, guys, is that do it before you get a wake up call. Do the stuff now. You have a chance to make a change now. Don't wait till you get oops, I've got a bad diagnosis. Not that Clark wasn't there. Clark was, I mean, you'll see all of his amazing accomplishments and his posts and everything. He's got an incredible body and he's one of the top, I mean, just amazing things you've accomplished over the years. And so I'm thinking about, as we transition into the next topic, I was like thinking about one things you do so well. And I love the way you shared with us Wayne, your client Wayne, and Wayne's his name, right? Wayne?
Yes.
Yeah. And so helping people lose weight, I think a lot of times, as I said earlier, maybe before we start talking too, is that I think in the US, and sometimes we just tend at a certain age, we just kind of give up. We think it's, well, it's just the weight I am. I'm 60 years old already, or I'm 75. So, I mean, what are you going to expect? But you know what? Again, here's my contrast. I'm down here and I see people that are kicking ass in the gym, kicking my ass in the gym, and they're 80. One of my best friends here and I worked on a workout class here a few years ago, and she was 80 years old and she was doing the workout aerobics class. And you see that all the time. They don't give up here. And I'm thinking, what is the difference and why do we give up, and what can we do to get motivated? And that's okay, motivated. And then how do you do it and all of that? So let's just jump into something there.
I believe, again, it's culture with respect to what you just said. I think there's a movie on Netflix. It's about the blue zones, the areas where there's more centenarians than anywhere else. And I think it's in Argentina that 102-year-old cowboy is.
Maybe I've started watching it the other
I'm
day.
pretty
It's
sure
an
it is.
incredible show. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah,
might
I'm
be.
pretty sure it's him. He's 102 out there riding on his horse, being an actual, like, real life cowboy, doing what cowboys do at this advanced age. And it's because ultimately the creature comforts that we have in our Western culture are really what have made us lazy. I did a post today where we were talking earlier about pattern interrupts. And I said, there's one thing that's holding you back from living in your ideal body. I'll get to that in a minute. So I went on and talked about what I talked about in the DR, how our bodies are the most adaptive organisms on the known universe. So let's take the Argentinian cowboy who's 102 riding his horse out on the ranch and bringing in the cattle. And he's working from not from 9 to 5, but from 5 to 9, right? So our culture is 9 to 5. Our culture is couches. Our culture is comfort chairs and all of these things that we look at as a blessing, which they are, but they can also become a curse if they've made your body adapt to being lazy. So here's the one thing, it's commitment. It's commitment to a program and a process and a belief in a system of living where that Argentinian cowboy who's 102 is committed to being outside, being on an animal, having a connection with something else. Like this goes beyond get on a treadmill and eat white fish and asparagus. This goes to the inner soul and making ourselves vibrate. You don't think that man, when he steps up on that horse and he has this connection and they're flowing through life and they're in the sun, in the wind, and even if his skin might be affected in a way from too much sun exposure, he looks older. He's 102. Give me a break. Anyway, it's all of that we have lost because we're in fluorescent lights. We're working 9 to 5. We're coming home. We're eating processed food. We're doing all of these things that you're not seeing as much in the culture that you're living in. And here's the sad thing. One of those blue zones, Okinawa, where I lived for a year, is no longer a blue zone.
Really?
Why? Because it's been westernized.
McDonald's,
Kentucky Fried, and all of those have come in to that culture where that never existed before. And now it suddenly exists. And it's because our, high and mighty attitude of this is the way everyone's supposed to be living. I don't think so. I think what is happening now, we're starting to see the effects of all of the blessings that we have, and they're ruining us. But here's the good in all of that. We can change it that quickly. And how? By shifting from those creature comforts and seeing them as a blessing still, appreciating them, but getting outside, doing these things, the stuff that you used to love when you were younger. Run, jump, play, skip, sing, dance. I have Wayne skipping down my driveway. He skips. It's funny. We laugh. And to see him at the end of my driveway, I can watch his brain through his skull. I can see his brain through his skull, trying to connect back to when he was 8 years old, the last time he skipped, trying to figure out how to do this. And he does it. And I'm encouraging him. I'm saying, you can do it. And when he first starts, it's comical, but he's doing it. And then he proves to himself that it can be done. And it brings back joy and memories and peace and happiness and times when all of his siblings were still alive and they were playing and they were youthful. Like, this is real stuff right here. Man, if you're not tapping into this, I don't want to tell you all the other crap that you hear. Yeah, do a keto diet and cut back on this. Shut up, man. That's dumb.
But yes, it's dumb. It is dumb because it doesn't work. People don't stick with it.
No, man.
We have all these options. We have all these choices. I always say we have too much choice. We have too much knowledge, too much information. And it's just, you've got to really just change that. To me, what I hear him say is, it makes me think of like when I stopped drinking, and I had to literally, the first when I stopped drinking, it was, okay, I'm just not going to do it for now. A friend asked me to do it with her because we were going out a lot and stuff. And I said, yeah, I'll do it with you. And then after a while, like, people would say, well, when are you going to drink again? I'm like, well, I'm just not doing it right now. Every day that was a little bit of a struggle because I kept asking myself, well, when is the day? Can't you just have one? I'm like, nah, I'm good right now. Or could I have one? It wasn't until one day I just, without even realizing it, I said, someone asked me to go out somewhere and I said, oh, let's go out for drinks. I said, yeah, I'm happy to go, but I don't drink. I'm a non-drinker. Oh, identity shift right there. Suddenly it became incredibly easy. To this day, I am at cocktail parties. I was there last night or something. I have enough booze in my house to open 2 bars because I have parties here a lot. It is like it could be like this fixture on my counter here, just anything. It's just something that's there. It's a piece of, it's a tchotchke, or it's a little, thing.
Right.
And why? Because to me, I associate myself as a non-drinker. My identity doesn't align with me drinking. and it doesn't even tempt me. Now, I'm not discrediting anyone who does drink and who goes through struggles with addiction and they're going in their recovery, and I'm all in favor of 12-step programs. But I think this applies to a lot of things, is how do we identify ourselves? And to me, and when we're in fitness, is, am I an athlete? Even before you are, I'm an athlete. I'm really fit. I'm really good at what I do here. I love this. Feeling that, just starting embodying that. When I lost all that weight when my husband died 7 years ago, it just happened by nature, like just because I wasn't eating and I was stressing. But I kept it off because all of a sudden I saw myself in the mirror one day and I went, oh my God, I'm skinny. And I started to see myself as skinny. Now, that's not the healthiest thing, but I did something to do better with that too. But it's identity. How are we seeing ourselves? And it's not just, let me try this diet for a few weeks and lose a little weight before the family reunion, the Christmas party. It's long-term. How are we seeing ourselves?
Yeah, I think collectively as a whole, we've lost our identity in our Western culture. And again, I love this country. I'm a patriot. I was a Marine and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I love it enough to be honest and say, look, man, we have to regain an identity of who we are and tap into that joy in life that we left behind because we bought into this BS lie of after the age of X, fill in the blank, you can no longer do Y. Like, I've been out on a football field by myself where I've jumped 2 fences in the rain as the lights are coming down, remembering when I was a little kid for the street light to come on and my mom to yell, Clark. I'm out there like that at 56 years old or 58 years old or how, just not too long ago, 59 years old, thinking if the average 60-year-old would see me out here with no shirt in the rain, throwing a freaking football at an upright, seeing if I can hit it, doing it 100 times or however long it takes me to do that, that brings me happiness. And because when I think about the practicality of it, I realize that most people my age couldn't jump the fences to get in there. I've
Yeah.
even looked at teenagers not being able to jump the fence to get in there. And then I would sit there going, wow, this is what we cultivated in this beautiful country of ours. There was a post yesterday about physical gym class in the 60s. It showed guys going up with in the thing, and they were all jacked and ripped. Back when we had the President's Council on Physical Fitness test, that thing's been outlawed, right? Because we don't want to shame anyone. We don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. We don't want people to feel bad. So what are we breeding? We're breeding unhealthy young people who could never even hold themselves on those poles, let alone take one out and move it into the next hole and make their way up this thing. I always keep this analogy. If there were a zombie apocalypse right now, and there were 3 of us in this room, and I was me, and one guy was, and the 2 other guys were the average guy in America, right? 3/4 of American men are not, they're morbidly obese, right? They're obese. If there were a zombie apocalypse, I wouldn't get eaten. I would be gone. I could jump that fence, run up that hill, throw some rocks, do things to evade this attack when the other 2 guys would be literally getting eaten by the zombies because they weren't fit enough to get the F out of there.
Oh, well, that is inspiring. How old are you, Clark?
60.
60 years old. Look at that. I mean, I think it's an inspiration for everybody here, is that no matter what your age is do something. Just start doing something. And, I noticed
Let starting stop you. That's a big thing. I always tell people, don't let starting stop you. It's like you with podcast conversation.
Mhm.
You said, I studied for 2 years. It was the starting that stopped you from doing it. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it was true. The longer I waited, the harder it got.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you
It was
just do it today,
start this thing. And then I finally, it was like, oh, every day it just gets bigger and bigger and harder. Our minds.
paralysis by analysis. That's what I was trying to figure out.
That's what you were trying to think of?
Yes.
Paralysis by analysis. That's right.
Yeah.
So what is one thing that you can do today? What is something that's a priority? I think the thing I always ask a lot of people when I'm meeting them for the first time is, what's something that keeps you up at night? And to me, we always know what it is. It's usually something that has to do with something like health, or it's that one thing that we kind of go, yeah, I'll do it soon. And if it's health, this is something that you have an opportunity today to check out Clark and look at your YouTube channel. Oh my gosh, I was looking at your YouTube channel and you have so many how-to videos there. Just for anybody that can just, even if they don't have money to necessarily spend or do a lot of things right now, either work with you or someone else, that they can go and do it at home, but there's got to be some accountability probably too, but it's a great way to go and check out. You've spent a lot of time on that and that's really amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
During the pandemic, I got popular on TikTok for something called 3 moves, 3 minutes. I just do 3 exercises for 1 minute each. And all of those are on my YouTube channel. You can go click on it, follow along with those. And I absolutely 100% guarantee that if you follow that consistently, I'm talking 3 minutes a day. And then when you get more conditioned, you do that twice. So that's 6 minutes a day. There's 168 hours in every single week of our life. And all I'm suggesting that you exercise for with what I just said, if you're a deconditioned person, someone who's, even if you're conditioned, if you do that for 3 minutes a day, so 3 times 7, 21 minutes a week out of 168 hours in a week, I promise you that your body will change, because what I said earlier, your body's the most adaptive organism on the known universe. When you start doing things, it will adapt to the things that you're doing. It will adapt to you sitting there not doing anything. It will adapt to you eating processed foods. It will adapt to you being lazy. It will adapt to all of that. And it adapts in a way that leads us down a path of being unhealthy. But the beauty is, boom, just like that. And you said, what can I do differently? I love Oprah, and Oprah always says, what's your next best move? That's all you need to ask yourself. What's my next best move with what I'm going to eat? What's my next best move as to whether or not I'm going to get up off the couch and walk? What's the next best move of who I'm going to talk with today? Am I going to gossip or get someone who's going to elevate my game? What's my next best move with my mindset? Am I going to read a book or watch some garbage television, or even watch a better video, or doing something as simple as turning the news off? It's not hard to do any of this stuff at all.
I think you just gave another formula there. It's great. I'm remembering these things because there's another one you said that 3 moves in 3 minutes, and then ask yourself, what's my next move? That's that's amazing, because I think that would apply in so many areas. Because sometimes we get stuck and everyone complains about overwhelm. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. This is so much. Clark, I'm never going to be like you. My God, man, you're 60. You're just like a freak of nature, man. And nobody can do that. That's what people want, I think. I don't know. But so I like that. What's my next move? And the three moves in 3 minutes, that's a great one. That's a great one to go check out and just make a commitment. And
my next best move
my next best
in there. Yeah, my next best move, because my next move could be one that isn't conducive to making a positive change. But my next best move, and it's really easy to manage that. So if the next thing so let's say someone's in the office and they're finishing a meeting and they know that on Fridays, somebody's job is to bring in the donuts or the bagels, or there's a birthday in the office and you're leaving that and you saw them through the glass window, bring that stuff in and it's sitting there. So you now have to get up and walk past that. If you ask yourself, okay, I want to lose weight, what's my next best move? What's to walk right past those? It's that basic. Now, what you're going to need to do is be able to overcome the peer pressure of, come on, Jill, we're all doing it. Let's have fun. And how many times have you heard that with drinking? And you're like,
all the time. All the time.
I'm a non-drinker. I'm a non-donut eater. I don't need donuts.
I say that actually about donuts because I've been eating donuts in years. But yeah, it's like there's certain things that we do when I decide what I don't do. It's just, that's clear. But some people may not have them. So that's a great idea.
Yeah. And it just needs to be a non-negotiable. If you have to sit in that office space for 5 minutes after everyone leaves and have a conversation with yourself, pull up your shirt, look at your belly, look at your last doctor report, understand what is lurking in the future and go, yeah, my next best move is to walk right past that and tell everyone who's pressuring me, I'm good, and just continue to walk. Don't even get in the conversation. Just continue to move on. Here's the beauty of it. Misery loves company. So all of those people who are eating the donuts feel the exact same way that person does. And they want one person to stand up and be the voice of reason and go, hey, why don't we not have donuts in here anymore and bring in something healthier instead? They're waiting for someone to rise up out of the muck and the mire of life and be the example of what is possible. But as long as everyone stays in it together, they're happy they're together. It's like a bunch of pigs in mud.
Be the pioneer, because that actually happened to me surprisingly, because I was really concerned that when I stopped drinking, I was thinking, oh my God, I'm not going to have any friends that everybody I know drinks. It's like part of my family, we all do. And when I stopped drinking, it was funny. Some people either stopped or cut back. And I can't tell you, people have come up to me now and have said, wow, I stopped doing that too. And so it's actually becoming easier as I've gone along, because the people that I've associated, a few people, fell off, and that's okay. But and I've developed deeper relationships with those friends I've had that I used to drink with like that. That now we're just like, we talk about deeper things. We share about things about our spirituality, our beliefs, personal development. And now people come to me for advice, when it used to be like, hey, Jules has the next bottle of whatever, and it's so much better. And so, yeah, be the pioneer, because people are, you're right. They're always saying, you know what? I didn't want to order that other bottle. I'm glad you said, let's not do that. I'm glad, let's not drink today. Cause I don't mind. I don't ever want people personally, just a side note, but I don't ever like kept people like worried because I don't drink, that people go, okay, can't drink cause Jill's here. No, I don't know. Don't do that. But at the same time, I noticed some people tend to probably behave as they wanted to, because they're not the only one. So it's kind of nice. So maybe be the pioneer.
Yeah. And while we're sitting here talking, I just realized I'm doing a live here on my phone. I just looked at my shirt, and the answer is clearly on my chest here right now. When people say, what do I do, or how do I do this? The answer is it's within you. It's within you. It's always been within you. And when you understand that, looking to an outside source like a diet or a trainer or something like that, maybe within you, you realize you need a trainer, you realize you need a coach, you realize you need the accountability or whatever it is. So that came from within you because there was a desire within you. There was a need within you. There was a reason, there was a hope, there was all of these things that are within you. And too often we look outside of ourselves when all we need to do is look in. And what I tell people all the time is go look in the mirror. There's a scripture in the Bible that says the eyes are the window to the soul. And I love that, because you're looking back at yourself. And if you cannot go into a mirror today and say, I love you, I love me some me, believe it. Like, that is my thing. I shared that before in the DR. And people will look at me and go, oh, who do you think you are? I think I'm a person who understands the value that I bring, and loving myself as much as I do first gives me the ability to love people on a level that would not be available to me if I didn't have that self-respect and that self-appreciation and love.
That's so true. We've learned that in YBL the past couple of years. I have in the past couple of years myself, and it's nothing better. It's not about being puffed up or arrogant. It's truly when I love myself, and people say, oh, you love yourself. What does that mean? No, it's actually really just valuing and seeing the goodness in me, like what I'm good at and what I do, and not knocking myself. It's positive self-talk versus negative self-talk, and not noticing things that I'm not doing right. Well, shoot, did I eat what I shouldn't have today? Or did I not get to the gym yet? Which I haven't, but I'm wearing this, and I did sign up for the gym today. I posted that. So I'm going after this. But it's like, oh, but you should have gone earlier maybe, or maybe you should have signed, you've been here 2 weeks already. Why didn't you sign up the first day you got here, Jill? It's like, oh no, don't listen to that voice. It's, what is Ted Lasso, the thing about, the goldfish, a 10-second memory, have a 10-second memory. What's happening now forward? So yeah, so it's just being in that space of appreciating yourself, loving yourself, because when I love me, I'm telling you, it's amazing how I'm being me and I'm being myself and I'm speaking my truth. It's electric, and people are drawn to that, and they learn, and you have space for other people. They're not annoying. How about that one? They're not annoying when you love yourself. Have you noticed that?
Yes, absolutely. And you're spot on with that. I love that you pointed that out.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I know that when I get frustrated with people, that ultimately I'm like, having a bad day with myself.
Exactly. Exactly. I read something recently that says when we're judging someone else, it's really something that we're judging about ourselves.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
it's usually when I'm disgruntled or I'm having a feeling, it's okay, Jill, what's up with you? What's going on here? And I have that self-awareness with myself. It's like, what's going on? What happened here? Oh, okay. So you're upset because you probably should have done this earlier. Okay. Can we get over that now and move on? Cause you're actually really pretty amazing here. Let's keep going. You're on track. Let's go. Come on. And I coach myself in my head. I'm not loud because I live alone. I can talk to myself out loud. I'm sure Alexa and everybody, Jeff Bezos and whoever else listens, they all think this crazy woman talks to herself all day. But I do it. And it makes me feel really good because I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty damn awesome. I'm really good at what I do. And so the self-love, I think that's awesome, and self-appreciation, because we don't always do that. And we're setting ourselves up for failure.
Yeah, I shared it in the DR. I give myself a finite amount of time to be what I refer to as a bitch ass dude. So if I wake up and it's 6 a.m. and I feel like I got up on the wrong side of the bed, I have 30 minutes to be in that muck, mire, mud, self-pity and all of that. 6:30 hits, I'm moving on.
That's great. That's great. That's a good one. It's a good window to have. Everybody should have something. They're like that. Well, one of the things I also wanted to bring up, we kind of got through that, is I know you mentioned a lot about testosterone too, and the thing that's really under discussed is, I know women, it's becoming more of a thing when we get tested for that. Can you go a little more detail about what that affects in men, other than just the obvious? I think we always think about testosterone. People are juiced in the gym. Back in the day, everyone was, doing that and whatever, right? But well, that was something else. But you know what I'm saying? Like, what is it about testosterone that really everyone needs, and they lose it at a certain age, right? It starts to go down.
Yeah. Well, with respect to men, if you consider it as the master male hormone, online, a lot of times you can't say testosterone. So we've come up with these new ways of saying it. And I love that comparison as the master male hormone. So if your master male hormone is diminishing for a variety of reasons, it's not always or specific to the aging process. And that's what it's been pinned on. A lot of the belief on the internet is every man after the age of 30s, testosterone will decline by 1% every single year. So that means by the time you're 60, you're half the man you were at 30. I'm double the man I was at 30. So I'm not in that generalization. Yeah, I won't.
Sure.
I did it by lifestyle.
Okay.
So it's lifestyle intervention is the key to that. It's attitude, it's confidence, it's all of the things that testosterone brings. So there's a catch-22 there. If you buy into this belief, just because you saw someone on the internet saying it, you're not living the lifestyle. You're caught up in the rat race. You're under the fluorescent lights from 9 to 5. You're coming home. You're tired. You're sitting on the couch. You're gaining weight. Collectively, all of these things are what add to the decline in testosterone. And the number one thing, in my opinion, being the belief that that's just what's going to happen, because it's like saying, well, after the age of 50, you shouldn't jump a fence and go throw a football in the rain on the football field by yourself when it's getting dark. Where's the law? What says that? That is part of the decline. That is part of the reason, because men buy into, the amount of times that I've been out working with kids, high school, college, Pop Warner age, professional, playing football. Let's say they're a bunch of high school kids whose dads were about my age, and they were standing on the sidelines on that football field, which in my mind, I equate to the sidelines of life. When I'm not on that sideline, I'm on the field, and I'm seeing these dads, seeing them judging me, like, who's this guy think he is? Look at him out there screaming and yelling and having fun. I'm like, dude, I'm catching a pass from your son. Your son threw me the ball. Your ass should be out here with him right now, not me. It's not my fault. So the amount of men that have been in that position because they believe, I've talked more men off the sideline and say, look, you don't need to run and do what I do, but at least stand at the end of where this ball is going to land and catch it from your son and throw it back to him. I promise you that will raise your testosterone. Absolutely guaranteed. No one can question me on that anywhere. You've heard me say that in the DR. No one can question that, because that activity in and of itself will raise a man's testosterone. Facts. So now when you add eating right, so his next best move driving home from that football practice isn't going to McDonald's. It's passing every temptation along the way, going home and making scrambled eggs. The cholesterol in that egg yolk is going to start the cascade of hormones in that man's body to help naturally boost testosterone. See how all this fits together?
Yeah.
And you do these things, and that's what's called lifestyle. But the lifestyle that these men have created based upon conditioned belief has got them in a place where, of course, at the age of 50, you're going to be overweight. You're going to have low testosterone. You're not going to have confidence. You're never going to take your shirt off. You're not going to want to have the light on when you're having sex or even have sex at all or whatever. So
Yeah.
these things need to be considered when you are looking at ways to improve, not just willy-nilly going to some strip mall and getting some guy who just opened up a testosterone clinic to shoot you in the butt with some exogenous form of testosterone that shuts your body's natural production down. There's
Oh, like
nothing
pellets.
wrong with the human body.
Really?
Don't get me
Really?
started.
Like pellets and all that. That's what you're talking about. It's things like
Pellets, patches, creams, shots, all of it.
so. There's natural ways to do testosterone. What I love to do always is like when I stop drinking is I'm to remind myself. I said, okay, I wrote it just intuitively. Did a paper. I said all the benefits of not drinking. So I'm thinking about this now as like how to hacks for myself. Is like, what are the benefits? Maybe start it the other way. Is how do you know if you have low testosterone? What are men missing out on when they're not doing this? What are they losing? What do they have to lose? Like what you said already. You said that they don't want to turn the light on in the bedroom. They don't want to have sex at all. Are those some of the things?
100%. Because if it's your
Right.
master.
When you start to roots that, do you gain weight when you don't have when you have low
Yes.
testosterone?
Yes. And that's why guys automatically think if they go get shots that they're suddenly magically going to lose weight. That's not how it works. I don't care what happened to your buddy, any of that. Here's a good way for a guy to measure whether or not he's losing his testosterone. If he doesn't wake up in the morning with a boner, with an erection, he's losing his testosterone. You should be waking up every day with boom, solid, you know, 100%.
And that's good to know. Okay, so at any age,
Yeah.
any okay,
I know
all right.
70, 80-year-old guys that wake up, because I ask, I want to know, I want to be informed. And I check in the morning, I wake up like, I'm good. You know what I mean? I don't need to go get my testosterone levels checked. So even if you went to a strip, wherever, and they said your testosterone is low. If you're waking up in the morning and you have an erection and you're feeling confident and all of that, don't let that dictate whether or not you think you need to get on some shot because you're not fitting into this guideline. If your body's telling you your testosterone's good, and that is an indication for every single man. And I could get graphic about it, but I won't. You just understand that that is the measurement of a
Get
man.
graphic. Tell us about it. We want to know. I have a lot of male viewers. Tell us.
Look, if this guy's not waking up and grabbing his dick and trying to bend it and it won't bend, like his testosterone level,
It can't
that's
be soft, like meat, like sort of semi hard. It has to be hard.
hard. It's hard.
Okay.
So,
So that was
semi is okay, but it should be penetration hard.
okay. Good to know. Okay, so that's a great test because I think here's what are other things that can happen if your testosterone's low? That's a good indicator, which this is awesome. And then is heart disease?
Yes, because you're getting obese, right? And these things, the hip bone's connected to the thigh bone. It's all connected somehow, some way. We have this myopic approach to health. If you ever thought about the medical system and how every doctor works in its silo, you have your endocrinologist here. You just simply said it. You have your endocrinologist here. You have your general practitionist. You have your podiatrist. You have your cardiologist. All of these people operate in a silo. Very seldom do they communicate with each other about Jill Collins and your health and what you need and what you should be doing. Hey, I put her on this drug. Make sure you don't put her on that drug because there's a contraindication between these two drugs. Yeah, you got a record and all of that, but who's really looking at it when they have 7 minutes to pull your chart out of a slot in the door? Come in here and satisfy your need to get that thing met. Like, it's not possible. So me now with my diagnosis, and if I choose standard of care, I'm going to make these two doctors talk to each other. So they have a plan for Clark Bartram that's thought out and it's considerate and it's understanding of what the right hand is doing compared to the left hand.
Doctors need to talk to each other. And again, bringing back Argentina, but I have a clinic here I go to, Edom, and they have all different specialties in one umbrella. So all my records are in one computer. I go to the endocrinologist and then I go to somebody else and they all can see, oh, I see that so-and-so put you on this. Okay, well, let's check that. And then I love that because I'm so just analytical. I got to like have everything organized. And so I love that that happens automatically. So we can do that for ourselves, but we've got to get really, again, here goes to the, don't just take things at face value. Ask your doctor to say, okay, are you willing to work with this doctor? If not, guess what, guys? Get another doctor.
It's that easy.
Right?
I've fired my doctors before. I told them, I said, dude, you're not a good doctor. I don't like you. I'm moving on to somebody else. I'm not being mean. I'm just telling you my truth. This is where I'm at. And the girl was like, really? And I'm like, absolutely.
We want to be
And
nice and
go to this
hurt people's
guy's,
feelings,
"Want a
but we're
tetanus
talking
shot?
about our life.
Tetanus shot?" I'm like, why do I need a tetanus shot? I'm not 12. I didn't step on a nail. You know what I mean?
Oh, because it's on the checklist of the CDC things we're supposed to have, right?
I
Dude, I
guess.
went to the pharmacy the other day when I was in the US, and I went to the pharmacy there, and I was picking up a prescription, and she goes, "Oh, you're actually you're due for your, I don't remember what vaccine it was or something." She goes, "Have you had that done yet?" And I'm like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I've had it done." I'm like, "Can you believe that?" They're all like tracking it. "Oh, you're due for a mammogram." "Oh, I know. Well, I get it done in Argentina." "Oh, okay. Well, if you want, you can bring it to us and we can put it in your file so that way we have it." I'm like, what is going on here? So I think that it's the perception that they're taking care. But are they just checking boxes that are required to say, "Oh, yep, she did that. She's doing that. She's doing this."
Yeah. And again, neither one of us has said they're bad or they're doing this with
Oh,
any sort of ill intent. It's just the system is really
we've
what it's
messed up. So
it's
you got
top.
to override.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's insurance, it's all of these governing bodies that won't allow them to really practice. I know so many people who've left the standard of care model and are practicing concierge medicine, which is becoming big now, which is cool. And that's really what helped me find my diagnosis. It was a concierge doctor that I had looking at my blood work that exposed me to the fact that my PSA was elevated, took me down that line. I found out, now. But with respect to testosterone, guys can change this naturally through lifestyle intervention, through the 5 principles I teach, believing that it's possible for once. That's mindset. Eating the right food that is going to be conducive. I mentioned an egg in the yolk. Somehow, some way, we've been convinced that a yolk is bad. I don't think so. A yolk is great. There's good cholesterol in there that is the precursor to testosterone production in the body. Then movement. There is certain movements that a man can do. Oh, Clark, I'm too busy. I can teach you compound movements, 3 moves, 3 minutes. You're doing body part things that are integrative, not isolated, right? I wouldn't tell you just go do bicep curls. I'd tell you to do a deadlift, which is integrative. That's how our body's meant to work. So there are exercises that can be done. Community, I had mentioned earlier, being around like-minded people is naturally going to raise your testosterone. And then the final one that I don't think people really talk about is integrity. Having a life that is living with integrity. If you're running around lying, cheating, and stealing, that manifests somehow, some way. And typically it manifests in being overweight. Typically, it manifests in drinking, doing things, because ultimately at the end of the day, I think we're all good people and we don't want to be operating on that capacity. But when we are, it has to come out somewhere, somehow. So it's going to come out in stress most often. And stress is the number one killer of testosterone. So
Stress is an more
this is good stuff right here, Jill.
This is really good stuff. You're on. It's awesome. And this stress is the number one killer of testosterone. And yet we say, I think some people have, we're addicted to it. We just assume it's like life. That's what you're supposed to be. We assume, okay, well, I'm doing a good job, or my value, my worth is tied to my performance. And if I'm feeling too lax, then something's wrong. You know what I mean? It's our society a little bit
that way. I used to stand around my house like this and just be so uptight, thinking I need to do something. I need to do something. And I still get that way from time to time, but it's not in a stressful way. It's in a productive way. Like, I love to do what I do. I have 3 podcasts today. Like, this one's setting on a trajectory to really put out this information into the world. Guy asked me yesterday on the podcast I did. I flew up to Sacramento for the day. And he goes, I love your attitude about your diagnosis and all this sort of stuff. He goes, but what if it hits the fan and it just suddenly turns bad? And I just looked at the cameras and said, I love you. I love you. I love you. I'm so happy to have had this time on this planet. I'm so glad we had this time together. Carol Burnett. I'm like, here I am. This is it. So if this is the last thing I ever say to anybody, then here I am, man, putting it all out there. And that doesn't worry me. Like, it literally doesn't worry me. I don't think about that stuff. So what's my next best move? Like, being here present with you in this moment, sharing this information, because whether I'm here or not, it's going to go off into the universe and someone somewhere is going to go, damn, you can't deny what being said in that podcast because that's some real stuff. I
And
ain't
thank
trying
God
to sell
for
anyone
recording
anything.
this. With that,
I said, I'm not trying to sell anyone anything. I'm just here being me.
you really are. I mean, again, I'm just blown away by all the things you have out there for free on YouTube and content, and that you share, and you're on Instagram constantly showing things and really delivering value there that people can be motivated and inspired by. So thank you for that. I love that so much. And just did an interview with a woman a couple months ago, and the big line was, "You have 20 minutes to live. What is a message you have to get out there that cannot die with you?" And it's very similar because it's what you're doing. It's so when we think about that, it was Ali Sheffy who said that, and it's like, whoa, it's not I have a year to live, it's 20 minutes. Whoa. And so it's something we all just should think about is, having lost my husband, I had no warning. I went to the beach for yoga and he was running, and I came back and he didn't come home. He was running and he died collapsed on the path, and so, yeah, what would he have thought of it? So he had 20 minutes to live. What do you think he would have said? We don't know. So think about that. What's 20 minutes? What is something you can do? Or what is something that you need to get done? And going into what you were saying about integrity, I think this is a little test for myself I've done with integrity is, what am I doing when no one's looking? Am I stepping over that yoga mat every day? Yeah, sometimes. And it's out there, but am I doing it? Well, nobody's going to know if I don't do that. You know what? I've learned over the years that even though nobody knows, I do. And when I tell you, it eats away at me when I'm not doing something I know I need to do. And that's integrity. So doing things that you need to show up for yourself, that really are feeling that, like that intuition, that knowing this is something that I need to do for my body. This is something I need to do for my family. I need to be healthy for my family, for people to spread the message like you are, to, get on podcasts, to share all these great things that you have, that you're offering, so people can get better. Because you'll never know. And I love this about this work so much, is we'll never know the lives we'll touch here. And you'll never know everyone, but they are. And to me, that's called legacy building. You're building legacy because someone's life will be changed from hearing you. They'll get healthy, and someone else is going to have a dad that maybe a little bit longer than they would have had.
That's it.
You can't, there's no money in the world that you could pay me, and I'm sure you, that makes that more meaningful. That's just so meaningful to me. Legacy building.
I've been
Wow.
sitting thinking about 20 minutes to live. What would I say in this moment right now in my life where I said it would change all the time? Like when they invited me to come to YBL and said, hey, give a message or wait. I said, I don't know who I'm going to be when I show up there because I'm constantly shedding things. But right now, what I would say to people is, don't let anyone steal your joy. No person on this planet should steal your joy. And if they are, you're allowing them. Don't allow them. And if you need to cut them out of your life, cut them out of your life. And it doesn't need to be a mean exchange. It just needs to be one of, well, I lost their number and I'm not going to have any sort of interaction anymore because I've allowed that person to steal my joy. And then you also said something else that brought something else for me, like more money. I'm not concerned with more money because if I'm concerned with more money, I'm not appreciating everything that's currently surrounding me. I got plenty of stuff. I have so much abundance in my life, and looking past all of this for another dollar, like I've literally got dollars. Like I take dollars out of my pocket and throw them in a basket. There's so much money in a basket sitting right here in front of me. And I'm worried about, I see another influencer online talking about millionaire mindset and all of this. That grosses me out. I don't ever want to be that person. Good for them. That's where they're at in their life. But for me, in my life, the next 20 minutes, that ain't going to matter none. So my next best move right now is when we're done is to go out and hug and love Anita, appreciate our puppies that are there, eat some good food that's going to take me down a path, take my supplements that are meant to heal my body, jump on the next podcast and do this again. And be grateful for the platform that you've given me. Like that is it. That's all my life consists of in this moment. And you didn't steal my joy. You added to my joy. And those are the types of people that I want to be around. I need more Jill Collins in my life. I don't need other people in my life who take 1 second of this thing called joy because it's a decision. So there you go. I can die right now and I'm good.
I love it. I think this was a great way to close here. And unless you have something else you want to offer, I think this was amazing. What you walked through right there is what all of us need to be thinking about. Like that is, what is our next best move? And what are we going to be doing And you just walk through your whole step-by-step process of what you would do right there. Thank you for that. You're just such a great, you're a mentor. You're just a great beacon of light for so many that need hope, that have lost hope or didn't even know that they needed to do it, to be thinking of something different. They just kind of unhappy. They need joy in their life, and you're bringing joy, and they're going, oh, I should skip later. But that was actually funny. As we close, the kids used to kind of laugh all the time because Ed and I, he was kind of more stoic before we started dating, and then we got married. And they said, "Oh, he softened him because we could be caught skipping down the sidewalk together, holding hands, and just like kids." And I'd forgotten about that till you just said that. But yeah, I mean, it's just finding the joyful moments. How much bliss can you possibly stand? Like, go for that. That's what thank you. This has been
Thank you.
awesome. I look forward to seeing you guys soon, I hope, again. And it was really awesome meeting you in the Dominican Republic at our trip. And come with us to the next one if you can. We'll see you there too.
I definitely
All
want
right.
to.
Okay, good. All right, Clark. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Please like, share, and subscribe. Really, this is a big one to share. I really want you to do this. I don't make money really doing this. This is just me. I want to give this to you. And so leave some comments. Clark will answer them. Go to his Instagram. Find him on his website and also on YouTube. Those videos are awesome. I'm telling you, some great content. So please do that. All right. Okay, everyone, take care and stay connected.